This is part 2 of our numeracy lesson on rounding numbers. In the first part of the lesson, we used a number line to look at the numbers that we were given and determine whether they were closer to one number or another when we were deciding how to round. So drawing a number line is a visual way to look at it, but it's not very efficient when you're doing a lot of questions and you need to be able to make quick decisions about how to round. So whenever I'm looking at a number and I'm trying to decide how to round it, what it really comes down to is the first number after the nearest hundredth. So in the first example, we had 8.62. The number that really decided whether we were rounding up or down was actually the next number of 3, right? The 3 is less than halfway to the higher number. So it's closer. 3 is closer to my original number than it is to the next number that we rounded up, right? For this one, it was the 7 that came after the 10, right? 7 is all the way over here, right? Which is much closer to the rounded up number. So we rounded up. On this one, the third digit was a 0. 0 is much closer to the original number than the rounded up number. And then this last one, we had a 5. So 5 is right here in the middle, right? 5 is halfway between the two numbers, but it was not just 5, it was 5, 6. So we were a little closer to the rounded up number than we were to the number without being rounded up. So whenever we're talking about rounding numbers and we're trying to decide whether we should round up or round down, we want to look at the next digit after the one where you're supposed to stop. So we were doing hundredths, which is 2 decimals. So it's the third one that we look at. And then if that number is a 0, 1, 2, or 3, that means we're closer to the original number. If that number is a 6, 7, 8, or 9, then that means we're closer to the rounded up number. And if it's a 5 on the dot, you're halfway in between, we usually go up, right? If it's a little bit bigger than 5, we definitely go up. So we have some rounding rules that I wrote here that says when rounding, look at the next digit to the right. If it is less than 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we round down. Rounding down means we leave the number as is without changing it. And then if it is 5 or greater, so 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we round up, meaning we're going to the slightly larger value. So we're going to do 4 very quick examples. Our first one here, we have 12.5647218.9. So I want to round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 decimal places, so 2 numbers after the decimal. So that is 12.56. And what I need to do is decide whether that is going to stay at 12.56 or whether we're going to push it up to the next number, which is 12.57. So to figure that out, I look at that next number, which is a 4. So 4 means we are closer to 12.56 than the other end, which is 12.57. So this would stay 12.56. Anytime I round a number, we usually put a dot over our equal sign to show that it is approximately equal to 12.56. It just shows that I've rounded. All right, in part B, we have 56.3492110. We want to round to the nearest hundredth, so that would be 56.34. And then I look at the next number after the 4, which is a 9. So that 9 tells me that we are closer to the rounded up number than we are the original number. So we would go up 1 to be 56.35. And because we've cut off some decimal points, we say that it's approximately that number by putting a dot over our equal sign. All right, next one, C says 798.3201591. So I want the nearest hundredth, so that is 798.32. And then to help me decide whether we're going to leave the number as is or whether we're going to round it up, we're going to look at the next number, which is a 0. So 0 obviously is closer to the original number, so that is going to be 798.32. All right, and our last one, we have 47.397312. So we want the nearest hundredth. That would be 47.39. And then I would look at the next number, which is a 7. So a 7 means we are closer to the rounded up number than the rounded down number. So this would be 47.39. If I push 39 up, that's going to be 47.40 approximately. Okay, well that's it for rounding numbers. There are some questions on the bottom for you to practice and then take up. And then we are going to talk about measures of central tendency. I'll see you in the next video.